Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our show number 1079, live on the 1st of March. It's the beginning of what we're calling Gardening for Birds Month. And we'll kick off the month on today's show in two ways, with Colorado Master Gardener Kaitlyn Parkins as our special guest, offering advice about growing native plants. And right now, with the unveiling of our Name the Talkin' Birds Garden Frog Contest. That's right. Now, our Talkin' Birds Garden Frog is no ordinary frog. It's a foot-tall sculpture that's perched in our Talkin' Birds garden right by our home radio station here. Our as-yet unnamed frog has binoculars positioned against its eyes as it scans the sky for birds, while a bird is perched on its head. The frog's head, that is. You get the image. You can see the frog right now on our talkinbirds.com website. Now, since our frog doesn't yet have a name, we figured we'd have a contest to give it one. So, Talkin' Birds listeners, we're inviting you to take a look at the frog on our website and submit your idea for a name. Our judges will choose the winning name based on their assessment of the cleverness and potentially memorable nature of your choice. And the winner will receive a Vortex Diamondback 16 to 48 by 65 angled spotting scope. MSRP, about $600. See the frog photo at talkinbirds.com and enter your idea right there under the Get Involved tab. The entry deadline is March 31st, and the winner will be announced on our first show in April. And once again, to submit your idea for the name of our Talkin' Birds Garden Frog, just click on the Get Involved tab at talkinbirds.com. Remember, there's no G in talkin', although there is a G in frog. All right, on to our Mystery Bird Contest preview. Since we're in contest mode here in a big way this morning, I guess. That's the sound of the bird there. We've got a couple of clues to go along with that, and maybe think about it until we get to the actual contest in a little bit. Our mystery bird is a robin-sized member of the Icterid family. Males are glossy black with red shoulder patches bordered in white. Females and juveniles have brown streaked upper parts and brown underparts. Our bird, which forages on the ground or from shrubs for various insects, other invertebrates, and seeds, is found on the North American West Coast, in northern Mexico and most of California year-round, and up through Oregon and Washington in the summer months. That would be our mystery bird, and we have some pretty terrific prizes for our Mystery Bird Contest winner this morning, including from Brome Bird Care. It's
Mega 600 feeder.
A Mega 600 feeder is right. An extra large tube is included there. That's the essence of it. It holds nearly 2.5 pounds of seed. It's easy to clean. It's chew-proof. Includes the Brome seed ventilation system. Keeps the seed cool and dry. And from Plain Products, that's Plain with an E, whose mission it is to provide clean, sustainable products in reusable aluminum bottles, not plastic. It's a 4-part travel set. That's shampoo and conditioner and body wash and body lotion. And everything from Plain Products is biodegradable, color safe, and free of parabens and sulfates and toxins. Pretty nice prizes there, we think, on the Mystery Bird Contest, which we'll do officially a little bit later on in the show here. We're still fortunate enough to be able to say thank you to another new Talkin' Birds ambassador every week, and that includes this week. And we want to say thank you to Autumn Nickel from Lillian, Alabama. Thank you so much, Autumn, for becoming a Talking Birds ambassador. She has some thoughts about that while tying in beautifully with today's show guest, talking about native plants for birds. Autumn says, I've been a birder for over 30 years. Love listening to your podcast. I'm eager to learn more about protecting birds and creating natural habitats that support them and other native species. I am a native plant advocate and have taken to heart planting every keystone species recommended by Doug Tallamy. Doug is amazing. He's been on our show a couple of times. Autumn says, I enjoy the variety of topics you have each week. Look forward to every episode. Well, thank you, Autumn, again for becoming a Talking Birds ambassador. And we'd certainly like to invite all Talking Birds listeners to join our ambassadors family. That is very easy to do by clicking on that handy multi-purpose Get Involved tab there at talkingbirds.com. Well, still to come today, in addition to that native plant advice from Kaitlyn Parkins, we'll get tips on enhancing your backyard birding experience from the famous Birdwatchers General Store's Mike O'Connor. And up next, it's today's featured feathered friend, presented by the Bigger and Better BWD magazine, with each large format issue packed with beautiful photographs and illustrations and all kinds of in-depth articles, things about birds in your backyard and everywhere you might travel. Experience birds up close with BWD at bwdmagazine.com. Today's featured feathered friend recently received a special honor when, by a nearly unanimous vote of the Sunshine State's House of Representatives, it became the official state bird of Florida. The bird, which replaced the northern mockingbird for the designation, is the beautiful American flamingo. Some folks, by the way, thought the state bird should be the endemic Florida scrub jay, and in consideration of those views, the legislature made that species Florida's official songbird. The American flamingo is instantly recognizable with its very long legs, very long, often S-shaped neck, a uniquely shaped tricolored bill, and varying shades of pink plumage derived from its diet of algae and crustaceans. Flamingos famously feed by flipping their heads upside down and sweeping them side to side, using that specialized bill to strain food like brine shrimp, algae, and insect larvae from water and mud, with their fast-moving piston-like tongue pumping water in and out of their bill, where comb-like plates called lamellae capture the food as the water flows through. The American is one of 6 flamingo species worldwide, and in the U.S. is mostly found in Florida, especially in and around the Everglades, Biscayne Bay, and the Florida Keys. Flamingos are often sent far off course due to storms, and in the aftermath of Hurricane Idalia in 2023, some turned up in 17 U.S. states, from Texas to Wisconsin. Partners in Flight estimates the American flamingo's global population at 180,000 breeding individuals, and with a rating of 13 out of 20 on the Continental Concern Score, it lists the American flamingo as a species of fairly low conservation concern. The new state bird of Florida, Phenacopterus ruber. Today's Talking Birds featured feathered friend, the American flamingo. Welcome again to our show number 1079. Kaitlyn Parkins is a Colorado Master Gardener and Glass Collisions Program Coordinator at American Bird Conservancy. And she joins us now as part of our Talking Birds Gardening for Birds Month with some advice on what to plant to benefit birds, maybe how to do it. Good morning, Kaitlyn.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure indeed to have you. Thanks for coming on with us. Well, I know that what we plant, Kaitlyn, depends a lot on what region we're in. We're talking about North America, and I'll ask you about that. But I thought I'd start with a question about invasive plants. They seem to be everywhere, and we're advised to avoid them. But is there a definition for an invasive plant, and how bad are they?
Yeah, I think the definition of native plant depends on who you talk to and the context in which you're using it. But for us and this context, I would say non-native plants have two features. They're both introduced from elsewhere, and they aggressively spread into new habitats, causing significant environmental damage. And we certainly want to avoid invasives at all costs.
Okay. What are some invasives that maybe a lot of us have that we think are native? Are there a lot in that category?
Yeah, it's unfortunately pretty easy to get your hands on invasive plants, even from local nurseries. So things like butterfly bush, burning bush, barberry, English ivy, emmer honeysuckle, Bradford pear, or Callery pear. All of these things are invasive and are still being sold.
So are garden centers kind of hip to this at this point in general in terms of knowing what's native and what's not native if you go to your garden center?
I think it depends on the garden centers. Some are really good about this, while others are not. And there are even states in the U.S. Who have passed laws banning garden centers from selling certain types of invasive plants. So it's always good to evaluate your local garden center or look for one that has a native plant section, or even find a full native plant garden center, which we are fortunate to have here in northern Colorado.
Nice. Well, what about some invasives that we have in our gardens all right now? They don't seem to be causing any trouble that we can tell. Are some of them okay?
Yeah, so you don't want anything invasive that's going to spread, but that doesn't mean that non-natives, you have to rip them all out right away. I've seen a study by Dr. Desiree Narengo that actually recommends 70% native plants and up to 30% non-native plants as a good proportion for supporting birds especially. I personally have some non-natives. I have some tulips. I have some peonies. Both of those remind me of important women in my life. I'm a big dahlia fan. I do put some zinnia seeds out. So as long as they aren't damaging ecosystems, they're not something that will spread. You can have some of these, fun to grow, meaningful non-native plants in your garden.
Well, how about those planting regions? I know there are these or maps that kind of show you wherever you are. And we're kind of, if we're talking about North America, these different regions, and here's what you should plant here, and here's what you should plant in another area. Where's a good place to get information about that?
Sure. So I recommend starting big and then working small. So a lot of organizations like ABC, like Audubon have native plant recommendations. The National Wildlife Federation has a tool where you can look at your ecoregion and find keystone plants that support significant amounts of biodiversity. Those are great places to start. For me here, that's things like plains sunflowers and rabbit brush. But from there, get local. Find your local native plant society. Call your local extension and your master gardeners. They're great resources. Your local Bird Alliance chapters. They're going to help you choose plants that are very specific to your area and that will do well right where you live.
Well, we're talking about helping birds, protecting birds, and I guess most people probably have their gardens close to their house, and we can't really talk about gardening and bird feeding without considering some of the other threats to birds, like crashing into windows, because we know that more than 1 billion birds a year, I believe, just in the U.S. are killed by building crashes, and you have some expertise in that area. What advice can you give us in a short form here?
Sure. It's super important if we're going to attract birds in, we want to support their populations, that we're not also luring them in to kill them. So if you go to abcbirds.org, you can find our collisions resources. There are lots of deterrents you can put on the exterior of your windows. Anything you put on your windows, you want to make sure it's spaced pretty closely together and that birds can see it. This can be cords, decals, and all of those things will prevent collision. So again, it's abcbirds.org. We have tons of products available, DIY solutions available, and you can safely attract birds into your yard as long as you're preventing those collisions from happening.
All right, well, just a little bit of time left, but let me ask you before we wrap up, maybe, sir, just especially for new gardeners, might apply to all gardeners, I guess, common mistakes that you see that we should avoid.
Yeah. One thing I think can be hard is the transition from typical gardening, which is very neat and organized, to native plant gardening or gardening for wildlife, where it's beneficial to leave stems and leaf litter and wait until a little later in the spring to clean up. So you got to get a little bit more comfortable with the mess, but by doing so, you're going to really benefit your overwintering pollinators, your birds that are eating seeds, and you can do a lot of good for wildlife.
Kaitlyn Parkins is a Colorado Master Gardener and Glass Collisions Program Coordinator at American Bird Conservancy, and she joined us as part of our Talkin' Birds Gardening for Birds Month. Kaitlyn, thank you so much for all that good advice.
Thanks for having me.
Kaitlyn Parkins with some great advice and resources for finding and choosing native plants for your local area that provide seeds and insects and nectar and shelter for birds. Up next here, it's our Mystery Bird Contest in just 1 minute.
The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com.
Is it possible that somebody forgot to play the sound of this bird earlier in our Mystery Bird Contest preview and forgot to give the clues about it? I think
you played it. I don't know if I heard clues.
I think somebody forgot to give the clues. Well, we'll do it right now because we're entering the official part of the Mystery Bird Contest and inviting you to call at this number, which we'll repeat, 781-837-4900. The mystery bird is a robin-sized member of the Icterid family. Males are glossy black with red shoulder patches bordered in white. Yeah, we did give this info. Females and juveniles have brown streaked upper parts and brown underparts. Our bird, which forages on the ground or from shrubs for various insects, other invertebrates, and seeds, is found on the North American West Coast, in northern Mexico, and most of California year-round, and up through Oregon and Washington in the summer months. Yeah, that all sounds familiar. We just maybe forgot to play the sound of the bird. And the prizes we mentioned from Brome Bird Care, a mega 600 feeder with that extra large tube that holds nearly 2.5 pounds of seed. Easy to clean and chew-proof as well. And from Plain Products, a 4-part travel set that's plain with an E. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and body lotion. Beautiful prices on our Mystery Bird Contest. And here is that number again, 781-837-4900. 781-837-4900. Open lines right now. Meanwhile, we're going to check in with Mr. Mike O'Connor, almost live from the archive. Let's ask Mike in just 1 minute.
A gentle breeze blows across your face as you take a refreshing sip of water, appreciating the stillness of another morning fishing on the lake. The distant gurgle of a stream reminds you of days spent playing in the creek, the cool, clear water rushing between your toes. You love this time with nature, the feeling of putting everything on hold to connect with the world around you. Now, imagine it's all gone. No fish, no lake, no water. One of life's most vital resources, irreplaceably depleted. Time is running out to protect fresh water, and without our love, it can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our freshwater. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
Well, lots of folks are listers and can get pretty serious about it in terms of adding to their life list of birds that they see wherever they are, maybe all around the world in some cases. But your backyard is a pretty good place to keep a list. And I think Mike O'Connor will agree to that since it was his idea to talk about that this morning. Good morning, Mike.
That was my idea.
It was your idea.
I came up with this by myself.
You did, yeah. I was going to try to claim credit for it, but I figured that wouldn't work out.
That's right. See, we always think of new stuff to do for the new year, resolution, as they say. And I think some listeners, not all, but some listeners would do wise to keep a yard list. And I say that, like, sometimes people who keep lists gets a little clinical and less bird friendly. But I have a lot of customers who simply, and they're my customers, who simply don't know much about birds. Yeah. And I think if you keep a yard list, instead of just looking at the birds, you'll try to focus to identify it. So we have a little contest at the store, kind of like a watered-down version of the mystery bird, where we take an actual photo of the bird, nothing complicated, and if the people guess it right, they get a piece of saltwater taffy. We started this because we ended up with saltwater taffy, and we had to try to find a way to get rid of it.
Wow, like so whole piece, they get a whole piece of saltwater?
And if it's a family, they have to share it.
Yeah.
But so it's amazing how my customers, how many common birds they don't know. And we had a family of 5 adults who spent 20 minutes trying to figure out a mourning dove. And so if you keep a list of the birds, instead of just saying, oh, there's a bird, you'll pay attention. You'll try to figure out the difference between a downy and a hairy woodpecker, or a house, or in a purple finch, or a goldfinch and a siskin, or the red-bellied woodpecker and a flicker. You work on that, and that'll get you to focus a little bit more on the birds in your yard. So when you come into my store and you see an American robin, you don't spend 20 minutes looking in the book trying to figure it out. You know what's going on.
Well, yeah.
And it's just kind of a simple for the. Now, this is not for the Gina Welsons, the hardcore birders in the world. These are the people who don't, maybe don't pay attention, like David Clapp.
Like David Clapp, for a perfect example.
Yeah, right. He just barely knows his birds well. This would be perfect. So you grab your book, you look at it, and then at the end of this, as you're trying to make your list a little bit longer, you might spend more time trying to figure out the song sparrow, the chipping sparrow, and you'll be surprised at the end of that, you might get a piece of saltwater taffy someday.
Boy, that is an incentive. Or maybe, I wonder, maybe you should just, if people don't know the birds, don't allow them to buy anything.
Okay, we're not going that far.
That wouldn't work.
Right, that's a bad idea.
I don't know. What was I thinking? No, that's not it. All right, Mike, thank you, and Happy New Year. And
Happy New Year to all your listeners.
Talk to you next week.
Got it.
There he is, Mike O'Connor at the famous Birdwatchers General Store, where the saltwater taffy is waiting while supplies last. Let's see, we're back to the mystery bird contest, and here's the bird. Pretty unusual sounding bird, and yet somehow strangely familiar. It's a robin-sized member of the Icterid family. Males are glossy black with red shoulder patches bordered in white. Females and juveniles have brown-streaked upper parts and brown underparts. Our bird forages on the ground or from shrubs for insects, other invertebrates, and seeds. It's mostly found on the North American West Coast, northern Mexico, and most of California year-round, up through Oregon and Washington in the summer months. Well, we have a caller from California right now, so let's say hello to her. It's Anna in San Diego. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Ray.
Hi. Pretty good timing because, the San Diego Bird Festival is underway right now, and our friends Lori Large and Begrid Ghazi have been manning our Talking Birds table out there. Have you had a chance to get to the festival?
No, today I'm going to head down there for some of the free events that they put down for the public.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds cool. Yeah, it's a great festival every year there in San Diego. Well, meanwhile, we have the Mystery Bird Contest going here, Anna, and you maybe heard the clues and such, and you have what to say about that.
I think it's a tricolored blackbird.
Tricolored blackbird sounds like not just a top-quality guess, but a very accurate one. The tricolored blackbird, exactly right. we're familiar here. In fact, all over pretty much with the red-shouldered blackbird. Am I saying that right? Why does that sound wrong?
Red-winged.
Red-winged blackbird. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that correction. Well, the red-winged blackbird, of course, but this one is pretty similar, but with that white edging on the red shoulder patches. The what's this one? Oh, the tricolored blackbird. I'll be okay. Don't worry. All right. Listen, Anna, we have a bonus question here. If I can get through it, if you'd like to try it, what do you think?
I'd like to try it, please.
All right. Well, as mentioned in our featured Feathered Friend segment this morning, Florida's new official state bird is the American flamingo. Well, some cities also have official birds, like Madison, Wisconsin, for example, where their official bird is which of the following? Is it A, the common loon, B, the northern cardinal, or C, the plastic flamingo? That might be if you know this, this is one of those, if you know, you know. So what do you think, Anna?
I'm going to try and relate it to the flamingo and say, yes, plastic pink flamingo.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. I guess weird but true. The plastic flamingo, they made this the official bird. Not an actual bird, obviously, but it's the official bird of the city of Wisconsin. It honors a famous 1979 University of Wisconsin-Madison student prank where 1,008 plastic flamingos were placed in the main quadrangle at the university campus. We can only hope that they maybe have been recycled, but who knows? Probably not too likely. We might mention that the American robin is the state bird of Wisconsin for what that's worth. Anna, thank you so much. You've got that right. We're going to send you a feather-friendly kit for protecting your windows, something that our guest, Kaitlyn Parkins, certainly recommended on the show this morning. And you've won those other beautiful prizes as well from Plain Products and Brome Bird Care. So if you'll stay on the line, Jesse will take care of that part.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anna. Correctly identifying the tricolored blackbird. And I guess we could say the plastic flamingo also on our mystery bird contest and bonus question there. Okay, well, that is going to pretty much wrap up our show for this morning. Next week, we will have more about gardening for birds. It is Gardening for Birds Month. Meanwhile, don't forget to go to our website and check out our frog there, and our name, the Talkin' Birds Garden Frog Contest, because we're giving away that beautiful spotting scope from Vortex for the person that names the bird, or names the frog, that is, in a way that pleases our judges. That's right at talkinbirds.com. So that's what's happening on this morning's show, and we're about to wrap it up here. By the way, there's an article that we just ran across about penguins and about the great diminishment in the populations of some penguin species in the Antarctic and other places. And we are working on having a special guest who actually led the study about this decline in penguin populations, and hope to have that guest on with us very soon, maybe even on next week's show. Meanwhile, thanks to our amazing Talkin' Birds team, Debbie Bleacher, Freya McGregor, and our producing engineer, Jesse Wilkins. I'm Ray Brown, inviting you to join us next week and reminding you can enter next week's Mystery Bird Contest, no matter where you are on planet Earth, if you listen live. Easy to do via the Listen tab at talkinbirds.com. Thanks again. See you next week.
The Bird Show. I like that.
Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.